Hi you guys, it's Elias from Guerra Movie House. In this video, I will be sharing with you guys what my top 10 favorite horror movies are. What?
What are you doing?
I'm making a video.
Okay.
Hey guys, the number 10 on the list has to go to Funny Games. This is a remake. I don't really like the original one. They came out like 25 years before this one. But the reason I like this one is because it feels a lot more realistic. It's the acting in it. It's Tim Roth, and you also have Michael Pitt. From Murder by Numbers and Boardwalk Empire season 1 and 2. He's one of my favorite actors of all time. The thing that I like about this movie is it's very simple. It all takes place in one house. I know a lot of people can't stand that, but I love stories like that. It goes to show the passion behind the story in the movie and the filmmakers, how serious they were whenever they work on projects like this, showing that you don't need much to make a really good movie. All you need is a really good story. But you have these two young guys who pretty much go into this house and decide to play a game. Who can survive the night? There's a lot of psychological moments in this movie where you have to ask yourself, what would I do in that situation? You have a father, a mother, and their like 10-year-old son or something like that. The reason I wasn't mad about the fact that this was a remake, or whenever they decided to remake this, is because the exact same writer and director decided to remake his own film shot by shot. The first one is a foreign film. This is the American version, and it has its cult followings. If you guys haven't seen this, I definitely suggest you guys check this out. It's not your typical horror story. It's very, very different. A lot of people were not happy about the ending. I don't want to spoil it, but if you're curious, go ahead and check it out, you guys. Number 9 on my list, and I know it's going to be on a lot of people's list, I've actually seen it already on a lot of people's list, is The Exorcist, the very first one. I just picked this up a few days ago. I did rewatch it. I love this movie. First time I saw it, I was a little kid, and it did creep me out, especially because I come from a very, very religious family. So I wasn't allowed to watch it for a very long time, and when I did watch it, I wasn't supposed to, but I had to watch it and find out what it was all about. Very, very creepy. You guys already know all about it. Devil is inside of her, and you don't want to mess with this little girl, you guys. Definitely check it out if you haven't. Very scary, very disturbing and disgusting, but it's definitely worth watching, you guys. Number 8 on my list has to go to Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the remake. I absolutely love this movie. Whenever I was making this list, I actually had a hard time deciding on between this one and the original. I love the original. I actually recently bought it, but there's the reason I like this one just a little tiny bit more is because of the camera angles. The director, Marcus, what's his name? Marcus Nispel. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that right. I love the camera angles that he decided. He was very, very creative. A lot of the directing, a lot of the scenes were exactly the same as the original, but I like the style in this movie, the camera work that he chose the camera work that he used to make this story feel a lot more gory. The first one I absolutely love, but it does feel amateurish at times, which is, I know what a lot of people like about it, but this one just felt a lot more scarier, a lot more gorier, and that's what I liked about it, so I had to put it on this list. Number 7 on this list has to go to The Fly. I recently picked this up, and while I was trying to make this list, I thought I have to put this in there just because of what it did to me, the experience that I had the first time I watched it. The Fly, this is the remake. This is the 1985-86 version with David Goldblum. I absolutely love this movie, you guys. It's not your typical horror movie. It is very different, and when you first see the trailer or read the synopsis for it, it kind of sounds like it would be a cheesy movie, but it's really not. I mean, it's fantastic. The special effects are really, really great. The original came out, I believe, in like in the late 1950s. I forget the exact date, but with Vincent Price, which we all know is a horror legend. But this David Goldblum and Gene Davis, let me just make sure. Gene Davis. I thought they were awesome. The chemistry between both of them are really, really good. But for those that do not know about The Fly, you have David Goldblum, who is trying to come up with the invention of teleporting, moving from one place to another. So he creates these machines that will help him do that. Accidentally, a fly flies in with him without him knowing, because as we all know, flies are really small. He does teleport to the other machine, and he feels like he succeeded. And he talks to his love interest, Gene Davis, and proves that he can do this. Throughout the movie, slowly but surely, he starts to experience very, very odd side effects that do relate to flies. Through many studies and with the help of Gene Davis, he discovers that he himself is turning into a fly. And I'm telling you guys, the scenes in this movie of his transformation are very, very disgusting. They're very disturbing, and just the thought of something like this ever happening, which I'm sure could not, is actually very, very creepy, you guys. If you guys haven't seen it, definitely check it out. The ending of this movie, I thought was, I think, if I remember correctly, goes by a little bit too fast, but it's really, really good, you guys. I definitely suggest you guys check this out if you want to watch a man turn into a very disgusting bug. Check it out, you guys. Number 6 on this list, another remake, you guys. Please don't be mad at me for those that are part of the cult following that the original has. I do like the original, but I like this one, even though Rob Zombie did make a lot of changes. I actually like the changes. I like the original, but I like this one just a little bit more because it felt more gory, a lot more dirtier, which is what I like in horror movies. So next spotlight has to go to Halloween, the Rob Zombie version. It does have the same story, or at least the same plot, but he did change a few things. Gave him a dirtier background, made him, which the original, I believe, the original Michael Myers comes from a pretty typical normal family, when this Michael Myers actually comes from a very, very disgusting background, very bad childhood, which I actually liked because it would explain a lot more why he is the way he is, and it also made him feel a lot more like a human. I like knowing that the bad guys in horror movies feel more realistic. I like stories like that because I think that's what makes it a lot more scarier, knowing that something like this could actually happen. And we all know that Michael Myers does have supernatural powers. You can shoot him 100 times and he never falls down. No matter how fast you're running, he's just slowly walking, but he's always catching up to you. This one, I felt it was more realistic. Like, Michael Myers could really be out there somewhere. So that's why I had to put it in this list, because I really, really like it. I saw it in theaters and it really scared me. There are a few jump scares in it. The only thing that I do not like, which Rob Zombie just doesn't get the hint, he keeps on doing it, his wife. I believe she is one of the worst actresses ever. I'm going to go ahead and say it. She's very disturbing. I do not like her acting at all. She does not deserve to be in front of a camera. Rob Zombie, if you ever watch this video, I know you love her, but please, please, just stop. Enough is enough. Thank you. Alright, the next one on the list, it's a foreign film, and I know for a fact a lot of people have not seen it. I do see it everywhere for sale, but I don't ever hear anybody talking about it. And that has to be The Orphanage, also known as El Orfanato. It's a Spanish film produced by Guillermo del Toro. This movie, the best way to explain it is Peter Pan goes horror. Yeah. You have this lady who grew up in an orphanage, and she decides to buy the house that she grew up in. Many years later, she's a grown woman and decides to buy this house that used to be an orphanage that she herself, I believe, was in as a child. Her and her husband and her adopted son decide to move into this house, and slowly they start to discover very weird things are happening. She starts having a lot of memories. She starts seeing this little boy who isn't technically there all over the house, and she starts to discover that this little boy that she keeps seeing went missing many years ago. Very creepy, you guys. Definitely have to check it out. It does move in a slow pace, but when you're done with it, you can't really complain about it because there aren't a lot of jump scares in this movie. It's the creepiness. It's kind of knowing what's there that makes it a lot more scarier. Everyone that has seen this movie that I have personally recommended it to always love this movie. They're always grateful that I recommend it. You guys have to watch it. There is a big twist. There is something that she discovers in the house that has been a mystery for a very long time, but I don't want to spoil it. Please watch this movie. It's highly recommended. That's all I gotta say. Number 4 on the list for my top 10 favorite horror movies of all time has to be Nightmare on Elm Street. The remake does not exist. Yeah. Nightmare on Elm Street actually did a lot to me as a kid. I wasn't allowed to watch horror movies, and this was one of the first horror movies that I watched, and it scared me to death, you guys. This is actually my favorite horror franchise of all time. I have them all on VHS. I recently bought a DVD box set. For those of you that watch my videos, you know what I'm talking about. But this is my favorite horror franchise, and number 1 has to be my favorite. Number 2 is my second favorite. But the first one, where we learn a lot about Freddy Krueger and a lot about the supernatural powers that he has, that's what really scared me to death as a kid. Knowing that Freddy Krueger could pretty much be anywhere. He could be anything. I mean, doesn't matter what you're doing. He can be anything, to the phone or to your coffee cup. You know, he can turn into your wall. The wall itself will attack you, and it will be Freddy Krueger. The bed that you're supposed to feel safe in under your covers can easily suck you straight into hell, you guys. Freddy Krueger is awesome, and I love the fact that he scared me to death, because that's what made me want to watch the rest of them. It's my favorite horror franchise, and the number 4 spot has to go to Freddy Krueger himself, Nightmare on Elm Street 1. Number 3 is another foreign film. I don't think a lot of people know about this unless you're like really into your horror collection and you love horror movies, but it is a French film. Highly recommended, you guys, if you like a lot of gore, and if you like slasher movies, and you like psychological slashing horror movies. Yeah, this one might be for you. High Tension. Highly recommend this, you guys. You have 2 girls, grown, I believe they're in their early 20s, who are leaving college to go visit their home, or at least one of them, and the friend comes along to be introduced to her family. The whole entire movie takes place in like 2 days. The first day is them driving, arriving there, settling into the house, and then most of the movie is that whole entire crazy night up to the next morning. You have this girl who is taking her best friend back home to introduce her to her family, and they settle in, and that first night, a lot of weird things start happening. There is this psycho clown looking guy that has like an ice cream truck or something like that, and he starts following these girls, and he breaks into the house and murders the whole entire family except for these two girls who escape and hide from him. And this guy chases them throughout the whole entire night, and you don't really understand why. I promise you, it has an awesome twist which you will not see coming. It's very disturbing. It's very awesome, very gory. You guys have to watch it. It's really good slasher chase sort of movie where you just scene after scene, you just see this one guy chasing these two girls, and they're trying to get away. There's so much I want to say, but I don't want to spoil it. But it's highly recommended, you guys. I could not make this list without this movie. You guys gotta check it out. Number 2 on this list. I know I said I couldn't make the list without High Tension, but I could definitely not make this list without this next movie. This movie has a huge influence in my life. I absolutely love Alfred Hitchcock. I love his work. I believe everything he does is a masterpiece. I'm sure you guys have heard me say that before, and I strongly stand by it. The man is a legend, and we wouldn't have a lot of movies that we have now if it wasn't for his stories, for his style, for his movies. Psycho. Psycho had a big influence in most of the slasher movies that we have. The significance behind it, how hard he had to work to get this movie done. People didn't believe in this movie, in the script, and the director. They didn't believe that this movie could be what it became. And now Psycho has left a big impact in the film industry, and that's why I like it. First time I watched it, I was a teenager. You know, a lot of horror movies didn't really scare me at all. You know, I actually laughed at a lot of horror scenes. But the first time I watched this, I knew what I was going into. I knew it was black and white. I knew it was old. And I did know who Alfred Hitchcock was, but I didn't know what the big deal about this movie was. And whenever I first watched it, I watched it late at night. I actually got scared a few times. I jumped a few times. And the shower scene, of course. Everybody knows the shower scene. People that have never seen this movie know the shower scene. People that have never seen any Hitchcock movie know the shower scene. And that's the kind of impact that this movie has left. It's an awesome horror movie. If you guys haven't seen it, definitely check it out. The remake does not exist. Vince Vaughn, why did you ever decide to do it? Gus Van Sant, shame on you for trying to remake this movie. Why? If you guys have seen the 50 movies in 1 week videos that I made, then you know what my number 1 favorite horror movie is. I don't think I've seen it on anybody else's list. I have seen a lot of these videos, and I don't think I have seen it on anybody's list. It's definitely underrated, not a popular movie, but I absolutely love it. Since the first time I watched it a few times that week, and then I watched it again a few years later just to make sure that it still stood its place, and I have to say it did. It's a very simple story, very entertaining. That number 1 spot has to go to The Descent. You have this group of women who decide to go explore this cave. One of them planned the whole entire trip, and the rest of them don't know that this cave has never been explored before, and she did it because she wanted to pretty much have a cave of their own. Little do they know there is some creepy things going on deep inside this cave. If you guys do not like small tight places, you will not survive this whole entire movie. The whole entire movie, it's pitch dark. The whole entire movie is them inside the cave, and once they discover these creatures inside, they try to fight for their lives. At the same time, there is some girl drama going on inside this story, which of course you can't make a story about girls without any female drama. But it's a great movie, very disgusting, very disturbing. I had to put it in number 1 because I love the story, you guys. It's very simple but very effective. They try to escape. I love the ending. I don't want to spoil it. I like it a lot. It just goes to show that there aren't always happy endings. Wink wink. You know what I'm talking about if you've seen it? Highly recommended, you guys. Go ahead and check it out if you guys haven't. Number 2 of this movie does not exist. Don't ever watch it. Just watch this one, enjoy it, and be glad that I suggested it to you. By the way, I know this movie is number 11, but I absolutely love this movie, you guys. I do have kids. For those of you that didn't know, I have 3 kids. So once in a while we do watch children's movies. Monster House, you guys. This is the perfect child's Halloween movie. It's really, really good, you guys. It actually is creepy for an animated movie. The style that it's in is sort of claymation, but it is like it's an animated movie, but the style that it's in, it's sort of like claymation, and it's very creative. You have these 2 kids who happen to be best friends. They're neighbors, and the old man across the street has the most disgusting, disturbing looking house, and he has the reputation of that grumpy old man who is always yelling at kids to get off their lawn and to leave him alone and to get off his porch and things like that. And whatever lands on this lawn, he will take and keep forever. There is a story behind it which is kind of disturbing, but really, really cool. You have this Girl Scout cookie who becomes friends with them because she was attacked by this house that comes to life after the death of the old man. This house comes to life, so the kids think that it's his ghost who has possessed the house and who is now trying to get revenge. Really, really funny movie, you guys. Very, very creepy and funny at the same time. There is a backstory that I can't get into because you have to watch it to find out. But it's a lot of fun, especially for Halloween, and for kids and for adults. I really, really enjoyed this movie. First time I watched it, it was actually me and my brother went to the movie theater and just watched it. You know, we're grown and we enjoyed it. And whenever it came out on DVD, I immediately bought it because I wanted to show it to my kids. And they enjoy it too. We watch it all the time. But it's highly recommended. If you guys haven't seen it, definitely check it out, you guys. But yeah, I just thought I'd share that with you guys really quick. Highly recommend this movie. It's a lot of fun. Watch it. Alright, so thanks for joining me, you guys. That is my top 10 favorite horror movies of all time. Please leave a comment down below. Let me know what you guys think. I love other people's opinions because I believe that we all like different things. So please leave a comment down below and let me know what you guys think. And I'll see you guys next time.